Just another good day. Another good day. We're gonna be using a lot of wind machines today. Things are gonna get blown around. It's a big cinematic movie.
I have never been on something this huge.
We're shooting outside, we've been in the fields, we've been all over. It really brings an authenticity to the movie.
It's a freaking Twister movie.
Come on, come on!
Where's my truck?
The original Twister was such a seminal movie for so many people and represented this mutual love of the way everyone looks up at the sky with reverence and awe.
It's so magic to be here filming Twisters. I'm a huge fan of the original, so I just kind of can't believe that we've dropped into this world.
Twister is something that everybody remembers. They remember that it either thrilled them or scared them to death.
It was such an iconic film. It was kind of logical that now that technology has come a long way and meteorology has come a long way, that we could put together a story that kind of updated the first film.
Hey, look, hey, gentle.
This thing is so old.
Like, I mean, it's old, but it's field tested.
In the past few decades since Twister came out, the nature of tornadoes have changed. Tornado season itself is now longer. Now we kind of say there is no season. It can happen anytime.
Storms are getting more erratic. A lot of new housing developments going up, so the developers, they want full-time weather data.
These storms are coming and they're changing, and there's no way to predict when and where like we once could. It just made sense that this was the right time to make this movie.
Dorothy's flying! Baby, she's flying, man! Look at that!
That group of actors in that original Twister are so dynamic and charismatic that you just want to chase with them and do whatever they're doing. I wanted this film to have that energy and that experience. And as we were casting this thing, I was just looking at actors who I want to spend time with, actors who I personally love.
What's up, Daisy?
What's up, Glenn?
Oh my God, Lee.
How you feeling about today's tornado?
It's a little scary, a bit windy.
When Twisters came about, I was already a fan of Daisy Edgar-Jones, and actually I heard from her. I got this letter from her, and she talked about how much she wanted to explore a film like this.
I think with any role, you just want to make sure you're trying to be authentic. Doing the research for this was so much fun. I researched as much as I could about meteorology and storm chasing.
Yeah, it's pretty. It'll pick up, though.
I just wanted to be involved.
And we're going to do a couple of variations. We're going to do one this way, and then we're going to do one closer in which you hook around.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the pace I'll want to see for when we're doing a closer coverage. The camera's on the crane.
And it's going to...
Yeah, it's going to go up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ready, and action.
Daisy is one of those Swiss Army knives of an actress that can just pull off anything. She's funny, she's heartfelt, she's vulnerable, she's authentically tough.
I got it wrong. In the field, in the moment, when it mattered, I got it wrong. Okay, I underestimated what we were up against, and I pushed it too far.
Daisy's one of the best actors I've ever worked with in my life. She brings this heart to Kate that when you're in the scenes with her, Daisy's levels are endless. She's crying, she's laughing. Her range is ridiculous, you know?
So it's a hug? No.
No, I can't.
Glenn is one of the smartest actors I know, for sure. He's also incredibly funny, incredibly spontaneous, and he's got a wicked wit to him. That combination, to me, is a perfect Tyler Owens.
Because I like this idea of him when he gets there, he's like, let's go, you know? It's just this idea of being excited.
Yeah.
Just like tornadoes, the more I find out about it, the more excited I get, and the more I find out about Kate, the more I chase her, the more excited I become.
That's right.
Glenn is phenomenal. He has such swagger and is also able to play such, like, vulnerability and truth so that you really believe this arc.
I'm sorry for what happened. But how much more are you gonna let this thing take from you?
Yeah, he's absolutely smashing it.
I wanted to start out with Tyler Owens as just a self-promoting adrenaline junkie, and then you realize there's real depth here, and he really understands why he chases and what he's chasing. You thought you could disrupt a tornado.
We never had a chance.
You want one?
This is a big motion picture. When I got the script, this character, well, his name used to be Mason, but Do I look like a Mason? I mean, come on. So he became Javi.
We changed this character's backstory. We wanted him to really embrace his Puerto Rican identity. Tony brought a lot of heart to this movie, and in many ways, I feel like he's the heart of this film.
He's always got insane energy, even after 5 days of night shoots. It's phenomenal. But he's bringing so much fun to Javi.
Yeah, I said.
Javi's lost.
Yeah, I've loved working with Anthony.
All of my stuff is with Anthony, working together and being pelted by the storms together. And we've gotten to do a lot of playing around, a lot of improv in between the scripted lines. But if you want to make fun of me, I'll come back.
Or maybe it's something like, everybody, let Scott go first. We know he takes the longest.
You know I don't have to. You know my, I don't know. So if you want to do that, I'll come up with something. Yeah, cool. Hey, Ben.
To me, Boone is every friend I've had in Arkansas who helps me just have a good time and not use my brain so much. And Brandon Perea, I saw him in Nope. I knew he's an incredible actor. And every role he's played someone completely different. So I just knew that he has the talent for doing this.
It's been such a blast playing this dude. I'll just chase anything and thrive within the danger. We're the fun group of this whole thing.
As a team, you can have a lot of people that have very different personalities and bond over one specific thing, which is, in this case, a passion for storm chasing and then also helping people.
They're giving a public service because they don't want people to be caught unawares and not prepared for heavy weather, but at the same time, they can't mask the joy in their voice when they see these incredible storm clouds.
Hey, you see that? That's a tornado right there, baby. Get some photos of that, baby.
The birth of a tornado, nature's masterpiece.
We're just such a hype crew. We hype each other up. We hype the tornadoes up.
I love being a part of this group. Just brings another fun aspect to the film, and I feel happy with just running in and causing trouble and causing a ruckus. This is fun, man. This is a fun movie. Yeah.
When we were prepping for this job, all of the cast went and visited NOAA in Oklahoma.
This is the OGs.
And met real-life meteorologists, met real-life storm chasers, met this amazing storm chaser who showed us how he kits out his car and all the gadgets he has and things that he uses when he chases.
They're there 24 hours a day tracking weather and, like, even further out of their region in Oklahoma, like, they're tracking stuff in the surrounding states and just all over the U.S. And there's just so much knowledge that was gained on that one trip.
They'll show you a video of a storm and we're like, yo, we chased this one. You're like, man, this is so real for a lot of people. When they go out there, they're really risking their lives.
It's on the ground.
Well, massive tornado.
You just take a lot of notes and try to digest them later. But the best part about being thrust into a world that you don't understand is once you start to understand it, you get it. You understand why people are fascinated with it, and you look up at the sky in a different way.
I felt like that really kicked off our actors kind of feeling like a unit and a team and really want to understand how these storms form, how we maybe can help, and knowing that this film could create impacts that last for generations. When I met with Isaac, I knew that he is the person to tell this story.
It's so fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so excited.
The original Twister, when it came out, it meant a great deal to me because I was watching a film that took place around where I grew up. I grew up on a farm just outside of Westville, Oklahoma, and that terrain, that landscape is a part of me.
The most important thing we were looking for in a director was someone who could tell a good story. So the combination of the way Isaac handles characters and a story that can be told along with involving the tornadoes was very important to us because it's not just an action movie.
He knows what he wants. He lets the actors do their thing. You can tell he's got a design, and you feel really comfortable in hands like that.
He has this really amazing sensibility when it comes to really getting to the heart of each scene, really finding the small things that can really elevate the scene.
Let's see how that works.
You know, hey, would you take one more look back at her when she's leaving? We just really want to feel that. These small directions that Isaac will give that really make such a big difference.
I fell in love with filmmaking back when we were still shooting on film. So with this movie, going back to Oklahoma, I knew that I wanted this time to bring a film camera there. Oklahoma just has these incredible colors. The landscape can get very green. And I love the way that film stock could render those colors.
Tactile nature of film allows us to capture the ambience where possible in a really aesthetically pleasing way, as far as I'm concerned.
I'd love to see it really fly off the hand. We all believe in the beauty that film captures, the nuances, the organic texture of shooting nature, and also shooting people's faces and eyes.
It's hard as an actor to look bad on film. You know what I mean?
Mainly that. I'm like, you look really good on film.
You just look cool. Yeah. It's funny, when you look at this world of storm chasing, we've gotten a chance to dive into it. When you're shooting a movie in Oklahoma, I've never been in a place in which everyone is a amateur meteorologist.
I feel like that's a tornado.
They know weather better than anyone else in this country. So it's great to just film in a place where everybody has firsthand knowledge of tornadoes and firsthand knowledge of what that kind of weather means for this place. And also, there's a lot of heart here.
Any chance we could just roll on? Roll on that sky really quick with a camera?
With these guys in it.
The irony of filming in Oklahoma in summer was that we kept having to shut down for actual weather.
We're trying to wrap as quickly as possible. You have lightning that's coming.
There's this little thing we like to call lightning delay.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. Turn everything off. We are unfortunately in a lightning delay. Please go to one of the vans or buses, take shelter.
When there's a bit of lightning or thunder, everyone just has to stop production, go hide inside for safety because lightning is very unpredictable.
So we expect hail and thunderstorms here at 3 p.m.
So we're currently sheltering in place from a T4 tornado.
This is what happens when you're working on a movie called Twister. Look at that.
There's times where it's bright and sunny out, and you're like, oh wow, not a cloud in sight. And then literally, I'll go in to get coffee, and then all of a sudden I walk outside, and it's thundering, storming, pouring rain, and I'm like, dude, what the heck just happened?
That line of storms is just to our east. Get a sprinkle, and as soon as I said that, it dropped me in the head. So
You're like, Kate.
right.
There it is. The rain's coming.
Yeah, baby, Oklahoma.
When we were shooting the El Reno sequence, yeah, it was going great, and this is just how it happens in Oklahoma. You know, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute.
We'd spent 2 hours shooting in between these gigantic wind machines, and then there started to be sort of like the rumblings of just like, oh, we might have to shut down for a second for a storm.
We're gonna see some decently high winds, maybe 40, 50 miles an hour.
And then a storm showed up. We shut down.
Dude, this is crazy.
There was an actual massive storm that came through and literally blew all of the amazing work of the set designers off of the street. So we were just sat for hours waiting for the actual wind to go to then rebuild it, to then recreate that.
The set was dressed and will be redressed again.
In an astonishing case, reality mirroring cinema. Dreamcatcher just caught no dreams. Roses $5 a bunch. Not anymore. Those roses are free.
It'll be back. It'll be back and better than ever.
It was so important to be there on the ground and for actors, all of us on set, to understand what it feels like when a storm is coming in. So that's a lot of the texture of the film, but it was tough, and often I was telling myself what a silly decision it was, but now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm so grateful we did that.
Background and action.
Just as much that this is a film about the environment and about destruction, I believe it's really about science, it's about hope, and it's also about respecting and loving nature.
I think that this movie really gives a new generation of people a fresh look into the lives of people that are doing something that's super important every day.
I find that what was really special about this story is those intimate stakes in the face of this grand terror.
There is so much joy and love, and it's just such a spectacle experience.
The more we fall in love with nature and the environment, the miracle of tornadoes, the more we have a sense of what to aspire to. These are things that we want to understand and learn and have respect for.
I could not be more excited right now. We just did our first
few takes, and it already feels like I'm stepping into everything I wanted to do as a kid.
Yeah, I've never done anything of this scale and stunts like this. Such a immersive and amazing world, and it's incredible how real the tornadoes look.
She's perfect!
She's gorgeous!
I mean, it's a big movie. It's cars being thrown in the air, and it's tornadoes, and we're running, and it's raining, and it just sounds like a good time.
The beautiful part about this movie is the blurred lines between practical and visual effects. And I think we have the best of the best across the board. You have ILM doing all of our visual effects, and you have Scott Fisher, who's doing our practical effects, and how the camera interacts with things that aren't there with things that are there. It's an amazing collaboration of minds.
The first tornado for me, I would often call it the Jaws tornado. This is a tornado that it's scary because you can't see it. And then when it emerges, when you finally see it, it's a monster and it's coming right at them.
Up until that point, it was more about the debris and the mist and the hail and all of the weather that's bombarding them, and then what happens to the world around them. You sort of only really see it towards the end of the scene, and then when it's revealed in all its glory, it becomes apparent. It's a huge tornado.
This is an EF5.
And it's using all of our simulation tools to get a very roiling, busy surface.
Today we're filming part of the prologue sequence. It was really amazing to see how they made it look like we were in a real tornado. So we had like ice thrown at us, wind, rain machines.
So we got as many of the kind of standard Hollywood, like 500, 600 horsepower, gasoline-powered fans, electric fans, pelting the actors with wind and rain and debris and everything you can.
It's also so much fun to really have as much of a recreation of the real-life elements and experience that would be going on. You have a real idea of how you want to do a scene and you visualize it in your head and it's going to be this epic moment, and then you get to it and there's a man with a giant wind machine in your face. Everything is going and you're essentially doing the whole scene like not quite how you'd pictured it.
I remember running through those wind machines and felt like I was actually in the path of a tornado, which was pretty terrifying.
I'm feeling good about the wind and the rain and the debris
I love
so
it.
far. I'm very at one with nature right now. I'm rocking with it. We're lucky it's hot out, too.
We offered them like the option of not doing their own wire work, of say, hey, if you guys feel uncomfortable, the stunt guys can do this. But they said, oh no, we want to get yanked.
Action!
I've always wanted to fly, and I finally did. I'm running. I'm climbing. Doing all the things, fighting for my life, and then boom.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're rigging me up for my fatal stunt, Jeff's departure of our movie.
Daryl, when he got yanked, because we had set the camera at an angle to make it seem as though he's about to hit his head on that overpass, every time he did it, I would jump and say, oh. Like, it was really scary.
This time we will have wind and some debris and rain in this. 3, 2, 1, go! Go!
It's meant to be horrific, it's meant to be epic, and it's meant to set up Kate for the rest of her journey.
Well, we tried to go through and identify a different look and a different personality for each of our tornadoes. And with the second tornado, Isaac had sort of decided on what we think of probably as a classic twister. It was a white funnel cloud with a big debris field at the bottom.
The windmill scene was one of my favorite scenes, actually, because we started off with these plates that were just, there was no wind, it was daylight, there was a truck on a road with some foliage that wasn't blowing or anything like that. And so one of our challenges in the beginning was, we have to replace every tree and all the grass and the road and the dust. And so in compositing, this is some of our favorite type of work.
When we were out at the windmill farms, it felt like those 3 days were maybe the easiest days that we had, where everything was going well and everybody was gelling, everything was working well, we were getting beautiful shots. So yeah, that'll always stand out to me as proof that what we were striving for, we finally came together, we were getting amazing stuff.
There's a smaller tornado that takes out the windmill. We had to simulate the destruction of that, and each tornado in every shot is art directed in its position, its scale, its rotation. There's a lot of thought and a lot of artistry that goes into creating these tornadoes.
Are those fireworks?
Yep.
Today is when the split happens.
We got twins!
We got twins! We're trying to get the one up on Daisy's character, Kate. Let's go!
Whoa! What did it
Twin tornadoes is actually something which really exists.
Twin tornadoes required their own set of challenges because we were creating the dynamics of the two tornadoes going around each other. It's a very chaotic thing, and it feels like the tornadoes might go away at any moment, they might stay, and there was a lot of actually complex dynamics that we had to simulate to get the two tornadoes rotating in their own little vortexes, but then around each other as well. We were shooting in an area where a lot of the dirt roads are really red. You really see the red of the soil. And this allowed us to try and differentiate the twin tornadoes from what we'd seen earlier in the film and what we would see later. So the red really factored in for that scene. One of the twins actually ends up going away and creating quite a bit of devastation at a town. And this sort of brings us back to the harsh reality of what these tornadoes can do.
The destruction of Crystal Springs.
I think that was one of the most impressive sets I've been on maybe ever.
Yeah. It was wild.
Like blocks and blocks of destruction.
And real detail as well. I think that was what blew me away. Like pictures of people in their homes, and yeah, it was really quite startling to see.
We are right now in the town of Chickasha, Oklahoma. In our film, it is portrayed as Crystal Springs.
Missy Parker, our set decorator, did an incredible job making that set of Crystal Springs really feel like a tornado swept through that place.
So I dressed every set as it would have been for that family, and then we had to go through and sort of undress, knock down, muddy up, knock over all of the things that would have happened if the tornado had blown through.
And I'm looking around, I'm like, yo, it really looks like a tornado hit this place. I'm talking about half of a house. You can see inside the house because the other half is gone, and there's wood everywhere. The streets are filled with things that used to be inside of people's homes, and yeah, it was wild.
Many of the sets that we have built have been repurposed for other sets, especially in the destruction. And we're helping the local communities after devastation to remove some of the waste and see, okay, what's safe for us to use within our own production.
Our Greens department actually went out to some of the areas that were hit by tornadoes and cleaned out people's yards for them. And we used that and repurposed that for set dressing on our set.
It's good that we came to help.
I wish we could do more.
One of my personal favorite sequences within the movie is the rodeo sequence to the Westway Motel.
We always had in our script that there's a motel and a rodeo across the street. I always thought, okay, I'm gonna have to probably cheat this, have a rodeo somewhere that's already existing, and then have a motel somewhere that's already existing, and then pretend as though the two are across from each other. What happened was that we found this incredible motel location in which the buildings weren't connected, and Patrick Sullivan said to me, you see how the buildings aren't connected? Imagine if we made it seem like a tornado swept through and it actually used to be connected, and we filled that area up with debris and destruction. And we needed a swimming pool, and he said, I can build you a swimming pool right here. And he had this great idea. He said, look across the street, there's a field. What if we built a rodeo out there? So that's kind of the genesis of that sequence.
This was an open field, there was nothing here. And during our scout, we fell in love with the Paul Husker Rodeo, which was a big permanent rodeo grandstand and a sort of timeless classic Americana. And we did our own small version of it.
All we needed was an actual rodeo to come through. So we found this place, TK Pro Rodeo, run by this fellow whose name was actually Tyler.
He does about 300 shows a year, and we had to plan this set around what their schedule is, because we're using their riders, their animals, their horses. Pretty impressive.
I'd never been to one, so I genuinely was there as an audience member going like, this is a thing? It was wild.
Tornadoes, bulls, same thing. Fear's the reason you do it. You don't face your fears, you ride them. Tyler is really getting to show his love of this community and the love of the people in this community, why he feels connected to everyone. And then immediately after that, you get the destruction of that community, the terror.
It develops into this massive set piece where they're running for their lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just received word a tornado has touched down in my arena.
There's a couple of wider shots of the stadium and lightning is firing off, and we get a glimpse of this large tornado just silhouetted against the sky. So this has got a bunch of stunts that were shot, but then we take the set that we built for the rodeo and we'll make a digital version of that, and that will be what gets ripped apart by the tornado.
Once the tornado hits, we have people flying through. We'll have horses running down, knocking people to the ground. A lot of crazy stuff.
Well, yeah, this scene was pretty hairy.
We were running across the road and they had lots of stunt drivers that had to, we had to time ourselves well so as not to get hit by any ongoing traffic.
Yeah, and I'm glad I now have a coffee in my system because there was one take where I was like, okay, it's after this car. And then I went and I was like, not that car. Not that car. Okay, cool, mistimed it. Yeah.
Do you have a storm shelter?
I had always envisioned that it's some tree that goes into the window. And I think the idea came from Terry, Shropshire editor. What if it's a storm siren? I thought that's a brilliant idea.
We built an overhead rig to support the speaker, and swung it in as fast as we could with a bunch of air mortars and wind. Kind of really, for that real surprise, to push them out of that office.
We captured it with a couple of cameras, and we had Jeff Haley and our other camera ops in there with their safety goggles.
That starts off the action as they try to escape from there over into the pool.
Stop it, McGee! It's too close! Go!
As they get in the pool, they think they're going to be safe. We end up dropping a soda machine. Drop.
People were attached to wires, so they were being blown away by the tornado and doing this crazy twisted sequence up into the air.
Practically is we have the actor get on wires, and then we'll do a Texas switch when we pan the camera, then we would switch out the actor for the stunt performer when he gets flipped and thrown out of the pool.
Next, a full horse trailer drops in.
fifth tornado was challenging because we actually go with them into the tornado.
We don't have to drive into it. It's really dangerous.
Oh, that's why we have to drive into it. Can't miss from in there.
Oh, shit.
Now!
They do deploy the chemicals they're testing, but we wanted to show that the chemicals have an effect on the tornado. So we had all this lighting chaos going on. We had our wind fans and our real dust, but we then needed to add the computer graphics of all of the granules flying up, integrating the tornado, and then trying to make a change. And so we want the audience to understand with Kate, oh, something is happening. And Kate and Tyler get very excited by this. Did you see what happened?
See that?
I saw it.
The last tornado, to me, was always meant to be Frankenstein. It's supposed to be the monster. And any monster needs to have its awakening. So the oil refinery is really the place where a monster is born.
We actually looked at a lot of references about how oil refineries are made, like how the structures in terms of their different chemicals, through what kind of process they go, and we redesigned this refinery as close to a realistic refinery as possible.
Oh my God, oh my God.
When we shot the actors' material, we did have our special effects team doing some practical explosions for real on set to give interactive light on them. So we had the look of real flames reflected in their faces and in the windows of the vehicles.
When the tornado actually hits the refinery, certain chemicals explode. There's crude oil which pours out. We kind of tried to make this a whole mixture of chemicals.
We wanted to see that it's built out of a core of fire. There's a lot of reference of fire tornadoes. So that was our base reference for what it could look like. Of course, this needed to be on a bigger scale.
It gets larger and larger as the explosions get more intense.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Look at the size of that thing. We finally see this incredible looking monster that is the EF5 as it gets closer and closer to town.
We purchased two 4,000 horsepower jet engines, which we kind of built into more usable, set-friendly kind of things that we could incorporate wherever we could. They can be 170, 180 miles an hour. It really gets the debris on a wider scale because we can get farther away and throw stuff further and feel like that wind's really pushing all the way through some of the more wider shots.
When they point that jet engine at something, shit is flying. So you are actually bracing yourself. I mean, you have all this stuff flying around you. There is, again, no acting. You're just trying to stay on your feet.
Guys, it's here. You gotta get inside.
When we got to town and we were scouting that location, we saw a trolley going around, and I asked Scott, hey, do you think we could do a sequence where a trolley tips over?
El Reno has a little trolley that they use, but it's diesel and couldn't control it. And then since we want to destroy it, we built our own trolley and used an air cannon to flip it right before the water tower collapses.
All right, here we go. Shots ready? We're going to have the wind, please. And go. And cut.
Ah!
Tyler!
Watch out!
Glen's leg is caught. I come in with a wooden stick, save the day.
From the very beginning, this is one of the stunts I was most excited about. 10,000-gallon water tank, big dump tank, sweeping us across, taking us right to the theater. We have one shot to do it, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, here we go.
We dumped a lot of water on those actors.
3, 2, 1, go. Someone bring him up, please.
How was it? Big movie dreams.
It then continues into a theatre that they had built in the studio and were able to sort of manipulate parts of it.
We are on stage at the Prairie Surf Studios. We are not at a real movie theater. We work closely with special effects. This is going to be a total disaster. We have about 1 second of a beat. We actually see the movie theater and people in it before tornado hits, so it's going to be total mayhem.
Patrick Sullivan, our production designer, he had to figure out, now how do I build a space that lets all of these logistics happen? And he came up with this brilliant system of having modular sliding walls that let us slide fans in and out and have the proper things in the ceiling to have ties and pools that can pool people, that can pool chairs.
We've got guys kind of all over the place, shaking walls, we're dropping debris, we're trying to get that beginning stages, and then it's going to build to where we've got complete wall destruction and screen destruction, ceiling destruction, chair destruction, whatever we can get.
We have 4 stunt performers that are doing various beats where one gets clipped and she goes flying back. Other people are spinning out.
I just got flown up in the movie theater. Kind of a little like, is she? Is she not? Is she gonna get sucked in? Is she gonna die? Is Lily gonna make it? The wind in this and like the dust and everything like flying, it helps add to the atmosphere. I don't know if I'd be able to be like, I'm scared if it's just the harness. So like the wind and everything gives it a nice dramatic effect.
At the end of the day, after the screen rips out, Ben Snow is going to put a big tornado out there.
We have a lot of visual effects to support creating that EF5. We've been basing that on some really striking footage that we were lucky to get a lot of different video angles on that.
We tried to really lean into how big EF5 tornadoes really are, so it's like 1 or 2 miles wide.
It's all based on real footage as much as possible, and so we're not making up these tornadoes. These are massive. They're a lot bigger than you think they are, and we have to just always be conscious of that's the character in this shot. You've got actors in the shot, but this shot is about the tornado.
I'm so proud of what everyone did on this film. It just felt like a lot of brains coming around the table and everybody firing on all cylinders with their gifts. And the things that we've done with the sound design, VFX, special effects, and with the actors, it's all meant to be something that puts us right there in Tornado Alley, chasing after a tornado.
Hold on.
Tyler Owens and his team of tornado chasers have very distinct vehicles. They are tricked out with things that protect them against hail.
We got GoPros, baby!
Against wind damage.
Tyler's truck. That truck, for me, it's like the Batmobile of tornado chasing. It's tactical, it's scientific, it's lived in, and then it's just plain badass.
Well, we're in front of Tyler's vehicle. His car is bright red. We're paying homage to the original Twister. It has an exoskeleton that special effects created on the outside. It's basically like an exterior roll structure.
Because of what these vehicles are going through, bouncing through the fields and through the wind and the rain, it wasn't a typical kind of movie thing where you do it as cheap and lightweight as you can. All the stuff's real steel and functional.
What's all this for?
Wait, what are you touching back there? Stop.
A lot of stuff in here.
Have you ever been in a car before? There's these 2 drills on the side of it to anchor the entire truck into the dirt so it can withstand the force of a tornado.
We've got rocket launchers that our wonderful props departments created. They're hydraulic rocket launchers, and these are hydraulics that go into a tank in the back.
Let's go! One of my favorite bits in the movie is where we get some fireworks and launch those rockets.
What do these do?
That's a...
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's a rocket.
Take a mark.
We have the TRX, which is, they call it Lion, which is Javi's truck. They're supposed to be the guys with the grant money, so they have to look all sharp and have all the bells and whistles.
This is the 1500 Ram TRX, supercharged engine. It's a monster. This is the logo for Stormpar. It's a graphic representation of the triangulation around the tornado.
Come on, Javi.
It's dope to see the contrast between our cars, the Stormpar team, and Tyler's team.
Nice upgrade from the old van, right?
He's just got all the best technology in the car. You can see it.
Yeah, how are you paying for all this?
Got investors.
This Dodge Ram is it's a beauty, man. Like, I think I'm gonna get it. I want it. After driving it, I mean, that engine revs crazy. Like, we test drove this car, and I'm like, I floored him.
We've really had the benefit on this film to be around the most legendary storm chasers in the entire world. So everything you're seeing on that truck, I feel with full confidence that it's the legit thing that could withstand certain levels of storm.
We had actual chasers advise us on how to trick out our vehicles. Sean Wall was very much involved with Stormpar.
I'm actually a research scientist at NOAA's National Severe Storms Laboratory. So I do a lot of research into severe storms and that sort of thing, studying tornadoes, hurricanes, lightning, hail. What I work on at the lab is a vehicle that we call a mobile mesonet vehicle, which is essentially a mobile surface observing vehicle. So it takes basic temperature observations, wind speed, wind direction, relative humidity, that sort of thing. And several of the vehicles in the movie needed a rack that was very similar to that. Some of the other equipment that's in the movie is actually pretty advanced radar technology. It's based off real technology called phased array radar, where we're actually using high resolution radars to quickly sample storm environments. And this is one of the new technologies that the Weather Service and NOAA as a whole is actually looking at.
All PARs are active, Javi.
The beam of the radar can actually be electronically steered, so we can sample very large environments very quickly using electronic beam steering rather than, physically turning a dish that takes several minutes. It looks real for all intents and purposes, and some of the instruments that are on there are the actual real instruments, and that was to basically model what we see in the real environment and make it as authentic as possible.
It's just the cowboy scientist thing. We literally have a truck, and then you have all this tech that can be tracking tornadoes. So the fun of this movie is really in the brains and the brawn, the scientific and the courageous. Do not try this at home. We are professional tornado wranglers.
Felt with this film, it's important to introduce that sense of dimensionality. I want people to feel immersed within a tornado. And ultimately, that's through sound.
It's a film about this force of nature, and you really want to nail down what's a tornado sound like.
We are creating the voice of the villain and also the majesty of the villain.
The biggest challenge was to just make it feel as real as possible. And we did a lot of research, talking to people, sharing their experiences.
I remember one interview with a woman who said that there was a deafening howl.
Al Nelson and his team, the work that they're doing, they came out to set, they listened to the landscape, they listened to the wind turbines that are on set. They did so much research.
The ingredients I was looking for the tornadoes, the first was winds. And winds that are tonal, that have that open prairie feel to them. I think about sounds that would work well. In this case, sounds with pulse. So one of the recordings that I thought would work well is this Huey helicopter flying overhead. And I can kind of fluctuate it and vary it so that it sounds like something's kind of swirling. And then maybe we want to try a train. And that's got some great howls. So then here's some vocalizations from a critter. You layer that on top of some of the tonal winds, maybe on top of the pulse, and you get... When we first spoke with Isaac about the tornadoes, one of the things he articulated is that he wants each tornado to have its own personality. In the film, when you experience each tornado, it's a different feeling, it's a different tone.
Are those fireworks? Each tornado plays a different role, and so the sound can represent that and can add to that. And the design, it's created with that in mind.
This is the first time we hear a tornado siren, and those are real. And we recorded those in Oklahoma. Every Saturday at noon, they do a test. So we made sure we were lit up with our recorders at noon.
You hear that?
Every movie will usually come up with a list of things to do to record. In this case, we recorded a lot of vehicles. And some of that stuff will also get done in Foley. We'll ask for very specific details from them that will sound better if they're performed.
I think that we bring a textural element to the soundscape, and we kind of bring in a little bit of a realism and texture that sort of glues everything together.
Lots of metal tearing, ripping, floating, crashing, wood elements, metal elements, and help the effects department out.
I'm just going to break down a few layers of the Fire-nado real quick. What I did was this sweetener, taking my electric garden blower and running it through a tube and then through a tunnel. And this is what that sounds like. And the reason for that is mostly so that it can cut through all of the other stuff. It's kind of got a brighter sound. And then we need, of course, the deep pulse. In this case, this is a pulse made from actual train rails, and we get this. And in context with everything.
The sound designer, the supervising sound editor, and the effects editors, their job is to put together all these elements that create the tapestry of the world of Twisters. My job is to take all those elements and congeal them into one coherent statement that says, here's the world we live in.
We want it to feel like it's ever-changing and getting more and more dangerous, depending on where we are proximal to the storm. And so picking sounds that are dynamic and are moving and are changing in pitch as well as changing in rhythm really helps to make it feel like it's alive and it's authentic and believable.
They're making sure that audiences feel all around them in the theater that they're being enveloped by a tornado. With the rise of technology that we've had in movie theaters, they're upping their game in the way that the soundscape is sounding. So the work they're doing is just incredible.
We're out here today
in Oklahoma.
In Tornado Alley with our boy Sean, who we became great friends with, who was our expert on the ground when we were shooting this movie and now our storm chasing friend.
Tornado's coming.
I'm assuming we may have to go analog.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. Twilight initiation!
The original Twister really kind of kicked off the storm chasing movement.
Count.
Twister came out in '96, and the first chase I did was in '99. I instantly fell in love with the whole dynamic of it, the whole adventure of it. Being underneath a supercell storm, it was like being on a different planet. There it goes. My role is to get extraordinary footage of severe weather. Anything that looks amazing, we're going to film it. As visual reference for the visual effects team that's going to be creating the weather for Twisters.
Science, baby. We're in Elk City, Oklahoma, and this could be perhaps the last strong storm day of the season.
Today, there's actually a very large target area. So today is going to be a very vigorous day for storm chasing.
The challenge with today, it's a very volatile environment, a ton of moisture out there.
The storm that you see behind me is one of the first storms that went up today. A lot of large hail, a lot of heavy winds. The environment's very supportive of strong tornadic storms.
Oh, lightning. Did you see that? First strike to the right.
Yeah, I did.
My role on the team as a meteorologist is being the navigator. So I'm helping decide what storms to do, what roads to take, and I work with Jana to do that. So we try to get close to the storms.
Get me in front of it.
Let's take a right. Here. My primary area of expertise is using radar observations to look at the storms that produce tornadoes and the processes that are occurring as tornadoes are forming. With high resolution, high temporally updating radar information, which basically means we're collecting a lot of data over really short time frames.
Oh my God.
Don't stop here.
We've got our adrenaline junkie chaser with us, Brisket.
No one knows this, but Brisket was trained to sniff out tornadoes.
In the past, we've chased in a customized tank. We're going to be doing the same thing again this year, but in a lighter, quicker vehicle that we've ruggedized. So this is the Subaru Outback. It's low to the ground. It's got all-wheel traction. The suspension system is somewhat beefy, and it's a reliable vehicle. And the main thing was the spiking system. This is purpose-built to keep this vehicle on the ground. The spikes were the main component that I wanted. I want at least something to do rather than pray.
See that? One of the areas that we really need to have a little bit better scientific understanding is what makes one storm produce a tornado while another one doesn't.
And we've come a long way in tornado warnings, for example. We know the conditions that generally lead to tornadic events, but we really don't understand why one storm produces a tornado and one doesn't, or why one storm produces a big tornado and this one's small. And those differences, the variations that we see between those storms, those are the kinds of things that we're trying to capture and try to understand.
Man, there's a lot going on in the sky right now. Sometimes these storms are in environments that are even identical to the human eye. So it's really unclear why a storm that's maybe, 30 miles away from another storm produces a tornado while the neighboring storm does not.
I think our best bet is to make the gutsy call. Let's go north. Let's follow that moisture as it moves northward in the state.
We're going north.
It's heating up, baby.
We're gonna fill a weather balloon with the helium out of the back of the truck. We're gonna attach a radio sound to it. You guys are gonna collect some science.
Hell yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa.
Perfect.
Oh, my cell phone.
God, it's gone.
That was our third balloon release. We are trying to get as much information as we can about getting a tornado to touch down.
I'm assuming this is safe.
Anything that's fire? Lightning strike? I personally don't care for lightning at close range because you can't see it coming. Get ready to get the out of here.
It looks like we are now have 2 tornadoes possibly chasing us.
If it is, it's over here now, right?
It was so epic.
Thanks for joining us. All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Glen Powell. I play Tyler Owens.
If you feel it!
I'm gonna take you through a day in the life of making the movie Twisters. This is Glen Powell, All Access. Here, I'll give you a quick tour of my place. This is Brisket, a dog that I've gotten here since I've been in Oklahoma City to keep me company, since the tornadoes just don't cuddle the same. And here is our view. So this is Oklahoma City. What makes it really, really fun is it's unbelievably flat, so I can see all these different storms forming. Weather here is the real show in Oklahoma City, and so it's the perfect place to be shooting Twisters. City girl knows her stuff.
Maybe if I work real hard, I could be a tornado wrangler, too.
One of the reasons I love making movies is I get to bring my family along. They usually stay with me, and they get to do a cameo. Hey!
Hey, darling.
This is Mama Powell. This is the OG.
Hi.
Hey! I grew up doing this in Austin. You would drive me to auditions. You drive me to, theater practice. It's always been kind of a part of our family.
When he was in 5th grade, he said, I want to take an acting class.
In that first show was the Music Man. He had one line. He stood in the middle of the stage and he said, "Good morning, Mayor Shin." And I was so proud of him. We get up, that's my boy.
We're gonna be at the rodeo. So it's the big rodeo scene. I'm gonna go through some of the dialogue that they want us to improvise. I'm gonna talk to this rodeo expert. We're kind of messing around with Isaac with the scene.
Yo.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
So I guess, I was wondering, as a bull rider, is there any sort of verbiage?
A couple things. We call the other side of the arena the Timies.
The Tinies?
The bad guys, Timies, yeah. They would call us roughies because we're all rough suckers. Maybe if a guy's making a dominating ride, like if he's right in the center and that couple making rounds, we'd yell, boot him, boot him.
Love that. Boot him. Boot him's good. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see it.
All right, guys. I think we're running out of time. We'll see you guys on set. Perfect.
Hi. Hey, Glenn, what kind of hairstyle are you going for?
What's the old phrase? The bigger the hair, the closer to God?
Yeah.
Oklahoma, baby. We are about to film the rodeo scene. It's about to go down.
All cameras are set. Here we go. Good energy. And action.
What was your first tornado?
Tell me yours.
I was 8, and this vortex just lowers right down in the center of the road. I was just mesmerized.
Tail sticks. Thank you.
It's a really great scene, and every time I get to have these two on set with me, it's very special.
Oh, my God.
You must leave me alone. See if you can find the basement. I'll take the other side. There's no basement on the other side. Nothing here either. And there's no telling what'll happen when that gas tank explodes. Sorry.
Yo, I just want to let you know I failed science every year of high school, so all them teachers gonna be mad impressed by this shit. Watch this. Dorothy can't tell you that Lagrangian mechanics, you know?
I could really use a drink right now. Fuck you all.
Iodide.
Oh, we can shoot rockets in that. Well, it's a silver iodide. We convert moisture into... So that way, hold on. Don't... Oh, mother...
stage, alright. Okay. It's your time and waste, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Getting hotter and it's alright. Okay. Getting time and days, it's alright. Okay. Hear the words I say, oh yeah. On the people there, dance on.
It's a butterfly, it's a butterfly. It's a butterfly.
I'ma show you how. Play your favorite tune now. Let me help you out. Hey.
Woo! Ah! Woo! Here it goes. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Hey! Hey!
Oh, he's ahead of you guys.
He's so fast. God. All right.
Let's do that again.
Do that again.
Hey! Never seen anything like this. Never seen anything like it.
Actually, Hobby, you have seen it before. Before Tornado 1.
Bro, have you read this script?
I like to thank you for the things I get.
I'm just doing what you promised us we'd do. Oh, man. Good choice.
Thank you.
Forgot my keys.
Why is Clark Kent yelling at us?
Okay, when you get there, spread out, everybody.
Alright, okay. In time and days, get alright. Okay. Hear the words I say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the people in here, dance all night till morning prayer. Alright, okay. Hear the words I say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the people in here, dance all night till morning prayer.
Last time I got my tattoo, I was squealing a little bit.
Where's yours?
It's a place that I don't think I ever want you to see.
That was a fun night, man.
I don't think I want to see that.
Welcome home.
Can you point me to someone from Storm Par? They were supposed to pick me up.
She's hilarious. Hey, I'll make you a promise. Door-to-door service.
I'll give you 1 week.
All right, Oklahoma, we've been talking about this for days now. Need to stay weather aware with possible major storms across Oklahoma over the next 36 hours. We could be looking at a record number of tornadoes. Make sure you have your plans in place. We already have our trackers out, ready to chase the storms. They are going to
Look, unfortunately, I'm just emotionally unavailable.
Has been issued for the Sooner State,
My heart
and within the next 36 hours, we could be looking at a record number of tornadoes before things calm down.
Give me that. How'd I look?